Hi everybody, it's Solvi. Today we are going to be drawing an original character in Gothic Lolita. I can't help myself, Lolita dresses are just so fun to draw. Anyways, you can see that I've started out with a pretty rough sketch and I've just started laying down the flat colors and playing with some collage elements for the background. Now, you'll see that I'm using a lot of white and pink for the color scheme this time, which for those of you who are into Lolita know that that is definitely not the traditional color scheme for Gothic Lolita. As the name would imply, Gothic Lolita usually involves mostly black, sometimes with blue or purple accents, but generally very dark. You can also do all white Gothic Lolita, but pink as an accent color is definitely not a common choice. However, I had a lot of fun playing with this sort of untraditional color scheme, and I wanted to make this girl still kind of creepy, even though she's in this very sugary, sweet pastel color scheme, so you'll have to let me know if I succeeded. And to add to that sort of creepiness, I did give her red eyes, which I think does give her a feeling of almost being like a haunted doll. Anyways, for those of you who care more about drawing than the rules of Lolita, you can see that I've gone in with a couple different lace brushes to give a lot of texture and detail to her dress without spending hours and hours drawing lace by hand. And to help that look more natural, I've used the liquify tool a lot to sort of shape the lace to the shape of her body and her dress and to give it a more realistic feeling. Because I'm using such a limited color scheme, I'm being really careful to exaggerate the lights and darks of certain areas of her dresses, so like her sleeves, for example. They're basically white at the very top where the light source is coming from, but then to differentiate her bodice from the sleeves, you can see that I've gotten much darker, and you can see that I'm adding some wrinkles and texture there now. Another thing that I do to subtly add depth is some minor color variation. So instead of just dragging my color slider down in saturation and brightness, I'm also actually changing the hue a little bit. So basically what that means is that if I were drawing a green object, for example, instead of shading it with dark green, I would actually shade it with a dark teal or even a dark blue. And this just tends to give things a little bit more of a vibrant feel. And in life, when light hits an object, there is going to be a subtle color shift. So this can also bring a lot more life and realism to your drawings. But honestly, it's also really fun to exaggerate it and really push it when you're doing stylized pieces. Another thing that I'm doing throughout this piece is adding subtle white highlights to her sleeves and almost all of the bows on her dress. And this is going to give the fabric a shiny feeling, like it's catching the light. And that's also another thing that is going to help differentiate the white bows from the white dress, for example. Or like the white sleeves of the dress where it overlaps with the skirt. Like I said, when you're drawing something that's all one color or almost all one color, it's pretty easy for things to get muddy and lost. So again, I'm just really trying to emphasize the differences in the pieces of her dress. Now, normally I put off drawing the hands until the end, but the hands were not the most challenging part this time. That would actually be the ruffles at the bottom of her skirt. And the problem is, I love the way big ruffles look. I think they add a bunch of fun volume and texture, but they're just such a pain to draw. For me, it's really important to be looking at references when I'm drawing ruffles specifically to get a realistic feeling of how the fabric would work. And you can see it took a little bit of trial and error for me here, but once I got it, I got it. And then it's just a matter of being patient and doing a meticulous good job on all of the ruffles and not phoning it in. I did do some copy and pasting to save myself a little bit of time and wrist pain, but I think it turned out pretty good in the end. You can see that I've also been making some last minute adjustments with the liquify tool. And she's done. As always, I hope you all enjoyed this video and thank you so much for watching.